Well, hello! Welcome back to my channel. Joshana here to talk about some friggin' books. I only have 3 books to talk about today. 2 of them are technically my wrap-up for the rereadathon, which was an abysmal failure for me. But the first book is actually The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I finished this in the beginning of March. I listened to the audiobook and I got it from the library. Good old Libby. Oh my god, I literally just got that. Like Libby, library, like you know what I'm saying? I just got that. Oh my god, I'm an idiot. Anyway, this is by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is the first and only Taylor Jenkins Reid book I have ever read, and I mean, y'all have heard about it, right? Like, it's so hyped. It's been hyped for like, what, a year and a half now. Last year it was on so many people's like favorite book of the year or like top 5 favorite books of the year. And yeah, it's just been so talked about and I've been wanting to read it. I just didn't get around to it. And then I put in a request for the audiobook and it took a while because everybody and their mom wants to read this book. The audiobook was really great. So The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, in case you somehow don't know, is a contemporary kind of historical fiction. Yeah, it's set back in like the 50s and 60s in, you know, that Hollywood era. Evelyn Hugo is the character. She is a Cuban-American woman and she kind of changes her hair and adopts this whole persona. I mean, it's her, and then she goes to Hollywood and yeah, this book is basically her life story. She is telling her life story to a journalist and there we go. I feel like going into this, I don't want to say that I was spoiled for anything, but like I knew who the great love of her life was going to be based on what people have said about the book and based on the representation in the book. So like I knew that, and it wasn't necessarily like the big secret of the book. That was pretty early on, the fact coming out that she's bisexual, and that's a large theme also throughout it. And there's like a big plot twist kind of towards the end, and I didn't necessarily guess exactly what it was gonna be, but I knew what it was going to be about and who it was gonna involve, and like, I just knew there was something coming with that, and I think probably you're supposed to. But yeah, that big plot twist didn't necessarily floor me or anything. I enjoyed the book. I enjoyed it quite a bit, but I don't feel like it was like one of my favorite books I've ever read. I kind of don't get it, like why people feel that way. I guess, like it was interesting, but also it was just this lady's life. I don't know, like she had an interesting life, I guess. Like she did. But I just don't get why everybody loves this book so much more than any other book that's like this. But you know, different strokes for different folks. I still liked it quite a bit. So one of the main characters, that's the journalist, she was cool. She didn't really like strike me as a character. Evelyn, however, is a great character. I really love her. She resonated with me quite a bit. I feel like definitely in my younger years anyway, I had some Evelyn Hugo tendencies, and I mean that's still inside of me, I guess. Towards the beginning of the book when she's talking about knowing that she is an attractive person, and she's like, what's the point of pretending like you don't know that you're attractive when you are? Like, that's just stupid. And she said, I'm not proud of my looks. It's just like, basically, like it's just genetics. I didn't do anything to look like this. And I have said that so many times. Not that I think I'm like, Evelyn Hugo is described as like the most beautiful woman alive. I don't believe that I'm the most beautiful woman alive. But like, I know when I look in the mirror that by many people's standards, different people are gonna have different levels of thinking I may or may not be attractive. But I know that like, oh, I look all right. I look fine. Like, whatever. But I've never been like, oh God, I'm so pretty. Like, I'm so proud of myself. Like, why are you gonna be proud of that? Like, you're just born. Like, thanks mom and dad for the decent genetics. And I just loved like seeing a character say that. And I'm like, I've said this like most of my life. When I was younger, I wasn't like that. I would like deflect and like you know, oh, stop, like kind of fishing for compliments, but like also you don't want to seem stuck up. So when people say, you're so pretty, you're just like, no, I'm not, stop it. Like, because otherwise you're stuck up. And then I got a little older and I was like, fuck that. Like, why would that make me stuck up? I don't feel better than anybody about like having a decent looking face or whatever. Like, why the fuck? That's so dumb. You know what I'm saying? And then like her with men, she was like that her whole life. I'm not like that anymore, but like very, very similar in my younger years. I don't want to fashion myself after those types of things, but yeah, I definitely like that whole part of her character of just being a force, you know? So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that, because I don't want to get a whole bunch into the plot because it would start to be spoilery. And like I said, most of you probably fucking know what it is and have read it anyway. I enjoyed it quite a bit. On my 1 to 10, I gave it a 7.3, which translates to 4 Pushinicorns. And then the only book that I completed during the week of the rereadathon was Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. This was a delightful reread though. I love The Hunger Games, you guys know, or if you don't, hi, I'm Joshana. I'm obsessed with The Hunger Games. But I've only reread the whole series I think twice. I think this might be my favorite one of the series. I don't know, this one or The Hunger Games are my favorites. This one just has like the ending and it's such like a buildup of things, but like things happen in this one too, and you're not sure what's going on. Katniss isn't sure what's going on. And then by the end of it, you're just like, what the fuck? On my 1 to 10, I gave this a 9.16, which is 5 Pushinicorns. Who is surprised? Nobody. And the second one for the rereadathon that I started during the rereadathon, but then I didn't finish it. I just finished it like a couple days ago. So a few days after the rereadathon ended, is I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. I wanted to reread this soon to tab, and I did, as you can see. So for me, when I'm tabbing, I have like the little multicolored one. So right here is orange usually, and then this is pink. Pink is love it / good stuff. Orange is quote to save. Why did I say that so weird? Quote, quote to save. And then the dark like bluish purple is emotional. This yellow is oh dang or wow, like an OMG moment. Green is annoying, dislike. Blue is confusing, what the hell is going on. And then, I swear to God, the general purple is like dialogue that I either like or dislike specifically. This one has all the pink and orange and a couple purple and a yellow, 1 green. And that's I love this book so much. I didn't forget, like I knew I loved this book, but like I forgot how much I love it. Oh, if you don't know, I'll Give You the Sun is a YA contemporary. We have twins, Noah and Jude, and it's told from both of their perspectives. Noah's perspective is when they are 13 years old, and then 13, 14, and then Jude's perspective is when they are 16 going on 17 years old. So 3 years later. I won't say what it is in case you haven't read it, but there's a tragedy that they experience, and it's experienced kind of between those two time frames. And it's so emotional and beautiful, and I don't like YA contemporary that much. You know I don't. And I know some people, I've seen some reviews where people don't love Jandy Nelson's writing style because it is very like fantastical. It's not a fantasy, that's not what I'm saying, but like just I'll show you some examples. So Noah, this is an LGBT story partially. Noah is gay. When he's younger, he isn't like out with it, but like it's very early on, you know that he is. And towards the beginning in his first section, he's talking about wondering if people know, right? And he says, sometimes I think Dad suspects. Sometimes I think the toaster suspects. And like, I just think it's so funny. Noah, a lot of these lines are from Noah. Noah is very fantastical minded when he's a kid. He says things like talking about his mother and calling her a blow-in, and that she's just like a force to be reckoned with. And he says other mothers don't have their own private weather, because he's looking at his mother and in his head he sees the wind just blowing around her and her skirts, you know, floating around and her hair floating around, but she's inside and there's no air happening, no breeze happening. But like, that's what he sees. Reality is crushing. The world is a wrong-sized shoe. How can anyone stand it? No woman can resist a man who has tidal waves and earthquakes beneath the skin. Jude talking about an embarrassing situation where she has embarrassed herself. Thank you, helicopter. Wow, please leave. And she says, desperate times call for ostrich measures. When we settle back into ourselves, everything feels different. Like if I turned on the light, we'd be bears. I think the heart of every living thing on earth is beating in my body. That night, I'm in bed, unable to sleep, wondering if I'm staring at the darkness or if it's staring at me. For me, lines like that, writing styles like that, they just work. They hit me right in the heart. They hit me right in the feels. I read stuff like that and I'm just like, I know exactly what that means, even though it's described so like differently. And even though I have read this book and I remembered the things that happened, I still found myself getting emotional at one point, literally tears falling down my face. Noah is an artist. Well, Jude is an artist as well. And all throughout Noah's sections, he does this thing where he'll be talking about something and then in paragraph, it'll say self-portrait and then have like the name of a portrait, or it'll say landscape and have the name of it, right? And like he's going through something really difficult and experiencing something very, very traumatic. And he says, self-portrait, the boy inside the boy stops breathing. Oh my God, my feels, my heart, my soul. So this was a great reread, needless to say. On my 1 to 10 scale, this gets a 9.83, which is near perfection, and that is definitely 5 pushinicorns. There we have it. Those are the 3 books. I feel like I kind of talked for a very long time. Sorry, but you know, what are you gonna do? As always, thank you so much for your time. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.